Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and today is finally the day when we get to see Mega Mewtwo in the Mega Master League. Today we're taking a look at Mega Mewtwo Y, and these battles were sent into the channel by a member of the community, HUNDO, so many thanks for the battle submission. Mega Mewtwo Y is a pure Psychic type Pokemon, and the moveset he's running is Psycho Cut, Psy Strike, and Thunderbolt to hit for big damage onto Mega Gyarados. Now this Pokemon gets over 7,000 combat power, so you can imagine with stats like that, we are in for an absolute show. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches, and let's go Mega Mewtwo Y. Hopping into the first match, picking up a pretty okay lead, Palkia into Primal Kyogre. Primal Kyogre is so incredibly strong that this matchup is not even that comfortable for Palkia. Palkia is gonna no-shield, but look at the damage. Avalanche connects, and that damage is devastating. Kyogre switches out, in comes Dialga, and Dialga is gonna be answered with Mewtwo. Had a hard answer available in the Zacian, but making the read that this is a Zacian bait out, and Zacian will be strong in the back. Shield comes up from Mega Mewtwo Y, gonna farm up to the back-to-back Psy Strikes. I am so curious to see this damage. That does huge damage onto Dialga. That is a resisted Psy Strike that hits incredibly hard. Psy Strike KOs Dialga, and now the opponent's going to bring back in Kyogre. Kyogre is going to outpace Mega Mewtwo Y, putting up the final Protect Shield, and now Mewtwo can look to overfarm. Mewtwo going to throw two Psycho Cuts, go for the Psy Strike. Primal Kyogre is extremely bulky. Psy Strike takes the knockout anyway, and in the back, it's Palkia. So the read was a good one. The opponent was weak to Zacian in the back. Mega Mewtwo Y launches Psy Strike, Palkia puts up the shield, Mewtwo gonna overfarm, go for the catch onto Zacian, and this game is over. There's so much energy stored on HUNDO's Palkia. Opponent realizes there's just no way out, and they're going to resign the match. Picking up a pretty awkward lead in the next match, Palkia into Mega Mewtwo Y. Mega Mewtwo Y, every 10 turns being able to spam out Psy Strike is very difficult for Palkia, as Palkia, if it wants any kind of real damage here, will have to farm all the way up to a Spatial Rend. Palkia gonna overfarm massively, go for that catch, saving the Palkia and catching Psy Strike onto their own Mega Mewtwo Y. Resistant Psy Strike still does quite a lot of damage. In comes Zacian, and Mewtwo can actually overfarm and play to the CMP tie here, because Mega Mewtwo Y wins Charge Attack priority against Zacian. It's very difficult to win Charge Attack priority against Zacian. That Psy Strike damage is just ludicrous, by the way. Zacian is going to be full Standing Behemoth Blade, and now Mewtwo can overfarm. Mewtwo farms up just shy of the back-to-back Psy Strikes. This Psy Strike will easily be delivering the knockout. Down goes Zacian, and the opponent's going to bring in their final Pokemon, which is Palkia. No baits here, an aggressive pivot back into the Palkia, unleashing Spatial Rend. There's a catch onto the Mega Mewtwo, but Mewtwo does pay a very heavy price. Palkia realizes it can't get the farm down, gonna fire off Aqua Tail. This will knock out Mewtwo. Mewtwo puts up the shield, but the Mewtwo overfarms. They did not know about the energy, and Palkia makes Aqua Tail number 2. Mewtwo now gonna put up the shield. Mewtwo gonna get itself as low as possible before securing the knockout. But this is going to set up energy for the Mega Mewtwo Y. In comes Palkia. Mega Mewtwo Y gets the Psy Strike, and let's see this damage. Psy Strike connects, Palkia gets rocked, and in comes Zacian. That damage was crazy. Opponent sees the writing on the wall and concedes the match. Picking up a great lead in the next match, Palkia into Dragon Tail Groudon. Palkia has a big pacing advantage. Groudon pivots out, gonna send in the Zacian. Palkia overfarms massively, and will just look to get a little bit of Aqua Tail chip. Aqua Tail into the Zacian is shielded. The Zacian respected Fire Blast, and in doing so, they've now put themselves in a very bad position, as in comes Mega Mewtwo Y. This Mewtwo has shield advantage, and that is absolutely the worst case scenario. Mega Mewtwo Y doubles up on Psy Strikes, and we already know this will pick up a clean 2-hit KO. Mewtwo even gonna overfarm. I believe that was a Charge Attack priority tie onto the Zacian. Psy Strike will be shielded, and the fact that they shielded makes me think they're gonna try and go for the combination play. They're one off the Precipice Blades. There's the switch. In comes the Groudon, but there's the counter switch into Palkia. Palkia saved that Aqua Tail. Aqua Tail connects. Groudon survives, but not by much. Groudon is forced to full send the Precipice Blades, but that is a lot of energy that goes down the drain. Now, back in comes the Mega Mewtwo. Mewtwo will look for the farm down. Groudon, able to make a last second charge stack, but this is only going to be the Fire Punch. Fire Punch, not a problem for Mewtwo. Mewtwo exits with so much energy. What does the opponent have in the back? They have a Zekrom, and we know this Psy Strike is going to hit for way too much damage. Psy Strike connects, Zekrom gets rocked, Mega Mewtwo Y makes it to Psy Strike number 2. Mewtwo's going to go for an undercharge here, going to try and set up the zero-turn switch, Zacian into Zacian. Opponent racing, trying to get to the close combat, but they cannot get there. That was a beautiful play to set up the zero-turn switch and secure the win. We move to the next match, leading Palkia into Mega Mewtwo Y. Palkia tries for the catch onto Mega Mewtwo, but it's unsuccessful. The opponent has such an energy head start. Mega Mewtwo Y puts up the shield, gets baited with the Psy Strike, and it really feels like this beginning of the game is all going wrong. Mega Mewtwo doubles down, a double shield, as the opponent reveals they're on Flamethrower, gonna build up to the back-to-back Psy Strikes, and the opponent pivots out, saving Mega Mewtwo, and instead catching onto Zacian. Looks like Zacian can barely survive getting 2-hit KO'd by Psy Strikes, but it is going to be extremely close. To fire off Psy Strike number 2, can Zacian hold on? Zacian barely survives, in comes the Palkia, but Palkia can't quite snipe down. That's a 1 HP survive from the Zacian. Zacian takes massive damage onto that Palkia, and now back in comes Mega Mewtwo Y. Bait here from the Palkia, down 2 shields, trying to make something happen, but the opponent just refuses to use their Protect shields. Now a second Aqua Tail comes out from the Palkia, still a no shield from the Mewtwo, and in the back, they have Ho-Oh. This is really not looking good. Palkia fires off the Aqua Tail. Aqua Tail is going to be shielded, and back in comes Mega Mewtwo. Mega Mewtwo going for the Hail Mary here, full sending Thunderbolt. Do they respect it? Yes, they do, and unfortunately, that is probably the game. Even with Mega Mewtwo Y's massive stat product, it can survive, but not well enough to make a Psy Strike. Ho-Oh gets the farm down. There's just no way out. And this Zacian is about to get absolutely destroyed. In comes Zacian into the Ho-Oh. Ho-Oh will get to connect with the Sacred Fire, and this is just going to pick up a 1-hit KO. There was a Zacian, and there is no longer. Back in comes Palkia, but it's on 1 HP. Ho-Oh farms down, and that game will end in defeat. We've got mirror leads in the next match, Palkia versus Palkia. He's going to pivot out, save switch into Mega Mewtwo, and Mega Mewtwo Y is going to be answered with a Veltal. But for matchups like these, this is why Mewtwo has Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt lands, look at the damage, a Veltal gets one shot, and back in comes Palkia. That poor Veltal thought they walled off the Mega Mewtwo, but that damage was absolutely criminal. Psy Strike gets the shield from the Palkia, no shield from Mega Mewtwo Y. Will Palkia full send here? Yes, they do. Spatial Rend takes the knockout, but now in comes Zacian. The amount of damage that's already been done to the Palkia is basically already in close combat range. For Zacian, Aqua Tail never really going to be too much of a problem. However, the opponent has still yet to reveal what their Mega is. They're holding on to that information. There's the reveal. It's going to be Kyogre, and Palkia doesn't have the greatest matchup into Kyogre anymore just because Kyogre is so incredibly strong in its primal form. However, the good news is, up a shield, it should always be a win for the Palkia. Palkia gonna overfarm, fire off Spatial Rend. This will not take the knockout. Primal Kyogre is too bulky. Palkia also at the Aqua Tail. This is resisted. Kyogre is very low. Will it be enough to take the knockout? Aqua Tail lands, but the Kyogre, it's just too bulky. It hangs on, 1 HP remaining, connects with the Avalanche, and there's a simul switch. Zacian into the Palkia. Zacian gets the double up on close combats, and that means this game is over, and the opponent knows it. They're not gonna shield. Palkia gets KO'd, and that's a good game. We move to the next match. What do you know? Palkia staring down Zacian once again. This really feels like the matchup that kind of defines the Mega Master League. Both Palkia and Zacian are incredibly common supporting cast members in this meta. It's going to be Palkia striking first, building up a ton of energy. Oh, what a catch! Able to catch the close combat onto the Mega Mewtwo Y. Mega Mewtwo Y tanks the close combat like it's nothing. Zacian can now go for Behemoth Blade, but Mewtwo very happy to trade a shield in exchange for an energy advantage. But in comes Lunala. That's really not great. Mega Mewtwo Y not running its legacy move of Shadow Ball, forced to instead fire off Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt gets the shield. Lunala throws energy to my absolute shock, and that is a massive swing of momentum. Lunala could have absorbed the second Thunderbolt, fully farmed down, and that energy would have been very problematic for the Palkia Zacian core. But instead, they got nervous, they fired off their energy, and now they're going to get basically no value out of Lunala because Spatial Rend plus Aqua Tail from the Palkia will actually take the knockout. In the back, the opponent has Mega Rayquaza. That's going to be answered with Zacian, and even despite the resistances that Zacian has in this matchup, Mega Rayquaza is an absolute demon. Rayquaza's doubled up on Dragon Ascents. First one connects. Dragon Ascent will cleanly pick up the 2-hit KO, and that's going to pressure away the final shield from the Zacian. Back in comes Zacian, back-to-back close combats are reached, and that means the opponent can never afford to shield here. Close combat will be shielded, that's a huge mistake. Gonna overfarm, go for the catch, and absorb that damage onto Palkia. Even if the opponent had overfarmed, the threat of Aqua Tail would have forced him to throw, but now Zacian gets to overfarm enough to where it's going to win the game. The opponent could never shield the Zacian. They had to save the shield and try and sweep with Rayquaza. but instead they did not. They used the shield on the Zacian, and that cost them, as Zacian close combats in the mirror, followed by a Behemoth Blade to KO Mega Rayquaza and get the win. There's a very weird glitch going on in the next match. As the battle started, the timer hit 0 and somehow the Mons had not loaded in yet. That is a new one. I don't think I've ever seen that one before. But the good news is the Mons have eventually loaded in, and Spatial Rend will connect for big damage onto Dialga. Dialga gonna be launching that Roar of Time, taking the knockout. In comes Zacian. Opponent pivots into their own Zacian, but they are down quite a bit of energy. They're only just reaching the close combat as HUNDO makes the Behemoth Blade. Behemoth Blade will be shielded, and honestly, this feels like a pretty good matchup to stay in. The opponent, however, has not revealed their Mega, and that could be a bit of a problem. Opponent's going to be full setting Behemoth as well, Behemoth Blade number 2, and if the opponent ends up double shielding, I wouldn't be surprised to see HUNDO pivot out and send in the Mewtwo. Mewtwo hits the field, instant shield as the opponent's threatening big damage with Behemoth Blade, and this Mewtwo can look to overfarm massively. In the back, it's going to be Primal Groudon. Mewtwo doubles up on Psystrikes, but I believe this is a CMP tie to the Precipice Blades. Psystrike connects. That damage is incredible, but will Groudon pick up the one-hit KO in return? Precipice Blades connects. Mewtwo survives. Mewtwo's going to go for an undercharge. Mewtwo just trying to set up a farm down for the Zacian. In comes Zacian. Zacian does get a very nice farm down. Zacian will have to manage energy perfectly to win this endgame. Opponents waiting down the timer. They bring in their Zacian. Gonna fire off the close combat instantly, but unfortunately, I think this is actually a game-losing close combat. There's not enough residual energy to outpace Dialga. In comes Dialga. There's the Iron Head, and unfortunately, this game will end in defeat. So close, but unfortunately, just not enough to get the win. We move to the next match, Palkia once again leading into Dialga, but this time, everything actually works as intended. Immediate safe switch into Mega Mewtwo Y. The opponent is not pivoting out. Instead, they're just going to stay in with Dialga, unleash energy. Mewtwo's going to be immediately putting up the shield as they go for the Iron Head. Mewtwo doubles up on Psystrikes. We've seen this pick up the 2-hit KO onto Dialga. Dialga is going to get absolutely crushed under the weight of Psystrikes here. Another Psystrike ready for the Mega Mewtwo. Decision time for Dialga. Are they going to put up the shield? Yes, they will. Mewtwo trying to make Psystrike number 3. Will get there, but unfortunately not before Dialga fires off the Iron Head. No, they full set a Roar of Time. That's a very big shield, and now Mewtwo can double up on Psystrikes, and Dialga just simply has to let this go. They can never afford to shield because there's another Psystrike loaded. In comes Primal Kyogre. I don't think Primal Kyogre is going to get the farm down before the back-to-back Psystrikes. Psystrike number 1 is going to be shielded. Can Mewtwo even make it to the Thunderbolt? Yes, it can. Is this going to pick up the one-hit knockout here? This is super effective. Thunderbolt connects, and Kyogre is barely able to hang on. In the back is Palkia, and Palkia is in a very, very rough spot. Close combat going to be launched by the Zacian. This will do some very nice damage onto the Palkia. Close combat will connect. Going to overfarm, reach for the close combat, but not quite able to get there. But Palkia's Aqua Tail is just going to be woefully inadequate. Close combat, charge attack priority win by the Zacian. All of Palkia's energy will go down the drain. In comes Kyogre, answered with the Palkia. Thunder will not pick up the one-hit knockout, and that's going to be a good game. Hopping into the final match, we see a very cool lead as Palkia leads into Mega Latios. Latios is a very spicy choice for the Mega Master League, but they're not going to build up, instead just going to go for the Aura Sphere. They could try and go for a catch onto their Zacian. Palkia is going to overfarm. There's the catch attempt. They try and catch onto Zacian, and now Zacian will get switched into the mirror. But being in a mirror, down energy always make things a little bit tricky. Going to be full setting Behemoth Blade, hoping for the no shield, but the opponent knows they're at a pretty big advantage. They put up the shield. At this point, I think you kind of just have to sacrifice the Zacian. They go for the close combat. They're going to take a lot of Metal Claw damage, but in doing so, they exit with so much loaded energy. In comes Mega Mewtwo Y, shield comes up, opponent is going to be going for the close combat bait, and now they're at -4 defense. Mega Mewtwo Y makes the Psystrike, there's a catch onto the Mega Latios, and the opponent is making some crazy plays. Latios still takes some pretty big damage there. Overfarm and a pivot out, back in comes the Palkia. Palkia firing off Aqua Tail, Latios tanks that very comfortably, and honestly, I kind of see the vision here. Let this go and try and go for an incredibly aggressive Psycho Cut down. This is an aggressive play, but Mega Mewtwo Y is a very aggressive Pokemon. In the back is a Veltal, and this Thunderbolt is about to absolutely destroy this Pokemon. Thunderbolt lands, a Veltal gets rocked, Mega Mewtwo Y, say it ain't so, Psycho cuts down a Veltal, back in comes the Zacian, and that's a full Mega Mewtwo Y sweep. Psystrike gets the shield, second Psystrike will be taking the knockout momentarily. What a win all looked lost after the catch, but Mega Mewtwo Y just completely took over. Side Strike, KO Zacian, and that's a good game. I have been waiting to see what the Mega Mewtwo's can do in the Mega Master League ever since they released. So many thanks to HUNDO for the battle submission. So we finally get to see what Mega Mewtwo Y can do. The good news is, when it comes to Mega Mewtwo X, I did have someone reach out and submit footage as well. Unfortunately, even though I did go to the in-person Go Fest in Go Fest Chicago, we only had 3 opportunities to get Mewtwo's that could Mega Evolve. Now, some people got really lucky, like HUNDO ended up getting the HUNDO out of one of those 3. All 3 of my Mewtwo's ended up being 11 attack, and unfortunately, even though I have the XL candies, I just really don't feel that it's worthwhile to build an 11 attack Pokemon for the Master League, so I figured I would wait. And the good news is, some people actually managed to get good IVs. So we'll get to take a look at HUNDO Mega Mewtwo Y today, and probably tomorrow, HUNDO Mega Mewtwo X. Now, Mewtwo does actually get a new legacy move with the Mega release, and that is the legacy fast attack of Counter. Now, Counter, I don't think really does much for Mega Mewtwo Y because it stays a pure Psychic type, but for Mega Mewtwo X, which is a fighting Psychic type, Counter is actually the preferred fast move. So the 2 Mega Mewtwo's end up playing very differently, whereas Mega Mewtwo Y is all about the charge attacks. If you can Psycho Cut something down, you can run away with a game, and it has an incredible amount of different coverage moves. You can opt for Shadow Ball if you want that one-hit KO potential into Lunala, and big neutral damage into the Steels. You can opt for Thunderbolt if you want to absolutely destroy Mega Gyarados and a Veltal. There's Flamethrower if you want to pick up the one-hit KO onto Zacian. There's Focus Blast, which I think Focus Blast, even though it's a very funny move, might be one of the worst moves you could use just because Focus Blast is just simply too expensive, even with Psycho Cut having very good energy generation. But for Mega Mewtwo X, it's all going to be about the fast attack pressure, probably going to be running Counter, Side Strike, and Shadow Ball, and basically operate in a very different way. Instead of charge attack spam, it's just going to be insane fast attack pressure. Now, this is the first of the Mega Mewtwo shoutcasts that I'm recording. I have not yet seen what X can do. Now, one thing to note is both Mega Mewtwo's are actually Mega Level 4 eligible, which means if you're able to get them to Mega Level 4, then I believe they could go up to level 52, which would obviously increase the bulk and increase the damage output even further. So right off the bat, I do think Mega Mewtwo Y is a pretty strong pick. I don't think it is meta warping in the Mega Master League. I think it's very strong when played well, but I also think that people do have the ability to play around it. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed watching today's video, please do help support the channel by leaving a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you have not. And an extra special thank you as always to our channel members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide to the channel is so appreciated. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.